Up until 2012, the Ford Focus and Mazda 3 had an awful lot in common, and that's because Ford owned a share in Mazda and corporate part sharing to save cost was in full effect.
But that Ford-Mazda marriage came to an end, allowing the Mazda 3 to take an identity all of its own.
In 2012, Mazda moved to offering its Skyactiv 4-cylinder engine in the previous generation of car. But for the 2014 model year, they moved to their vaunted Skyactiv platform, offering 2 4-cylinder engines and scrapping every remaining bit of Ford DNA.
So we've arranged a family reunion of sorts, pitting the admittedly aging Ford Focus against the brand new Mazda 3.
The 2014 Mazda 3 can come with 2 4-cylinder engines. The base car is sold with a 2-liter unit, although our test car has the optional 2.5. That engine puts out 184 horsepower and 185 pound-feet of torque. Transmission options include a 6-speed manual and a 6-speed automatic. The manual transmission is offered on the smaller of the 2 engines, while our car is exclusively offered with a 6-speed auto. According to the EPA, our tester ought to return 27 miles per gallon in the city, 37 on the highway, or an average of 31. Pricing kicks off just under 20 grand for the 2-liter hatchback, while our 2.5-liter model comes in just under 26.
Under the hood of the Ford Focus is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. That makes 160 horsepower and 146 pounds-feet of torque. You can get the Focus hatchback with a 5-speed manual, or you can get it like this car with a 6-speed power shift dual clutch transmission. Now, fuel economy is rated at exactly the same numbers as that 2.5-liter Mazda. That's 27 miles per gallon in the city, 37 miles per gallon on the highway, and 31 miles per gallon combined. You can get a Focus hatchback for just under $20,000, but if you want a fully equipped model like this one here, expect to pay just over $26,000.
Okay, let's get down to brass tacks, because it doesn't matter what model you choose within the Mazda 3 line, they're all especially stylish. Even at the base level, the body lines and the proportions stay the same, making it one of the best looking compact hatchbacks money can buy. But the base sport trim comes with 16-inch steel wheels and hubcaps, and if it were my money, I'd be happy to pay the extra roughly $1,000 it costs to move up to the touring trim. At that level, you get keyless entry, you get blind spot monitoring, oh, and also you get alloy wheels. But really, the car to get, if you can afford the extra cash, is the 2.5-liter touring trim. At that price level, you get upgrades including LED daytime running lights, xenon headlights, and halogen fog lamps. You also get 18-inch alloy wheels like our test car here has.
If you haven't noticed, the Ford Focus is a little dated looking compared to the Mazda 3. It doesn't have those cool LED accents, bi-xenon headlights, or dual exhaust tips. But it's not like it's ugly. I appreciate some of the styling cues that Ford has given this car, like the fuel filler cap that's integrated with that rear taillight. I really like that touch.
Mazda took a less is more approach with the 3, and the end result is a product that has a lot of common traits with German luxury, if you can believe it. For example, the infotainment display could be pulled directly out of the Mercedes-Benz CLA. Similarly, the dial you use to control it could be pulled right out of the GLK crossover, and the volume dial directly to its right apes Audi design shamelessly. And why shouldn't it? Because this car gets a clean, easy-to-use interior that, for the most part, feels absolutely splendid. Now, not everything about it is perfect. For example, there are little interior material flaws like the faux carbon fiber plastic inserts that I could really do without, because if you run your fingernail over them, they easily scratch, and after a few years, I can't imagine they're going to look very good. If Mazda would just use something like the piano black here in the center console instead of that fake carbon fiber look, the entire cabin would take on a much more premium feel than it already does. Then there's the head-up display. You know, it's a cool thing to have in the car, but the truth is, it's not really so much a head-up display as it is a head halfway up display. And what I mean by that is it doesn't really allow you to see the speed the car is traveling without taking your eyes off the road, because it sits halfway in between the windshield and the gauge cluster. So it's a cool feature, but it's not really that functional. Then again, you can't even get the heads-up display in the Focus, and we haven't even talked about the driving dynamics yet, which, take it from me, is the very best part of this car.
While the Ford Focus is comfortable to sit in, there's a few things that I just don't agree with when it comes to the cabin. For example, some of the plastics that they use all over the cabin just aren't as pretty to look at or touch as what you'd find in the Mazda. Also, some of the controls are a bit of a stretch to reach while driving. Fortunately, the Ford has excellent voice recognition software, and all of those controls are accessible through voice commands.
Tune to FM 88.1.
Tuning to FM 88.1.
It's pretty useful, and it controls not just the phone and navigation system, but also the climate control and media information. It's a pretty handy feature, as long as you don't mind having a conversation with your car. When it comes to accommodations, the Focus is pretty well appointed. It has dual climate control and heated seats. And this titanium model has a ton of features, including a Sony branded 10-speaker sound system, which sounds excellent. Additionally, Ford has outfitted this car with parking sensors in the front and rear, as well as a rear view camera, and an automatic parallel parking system.
Now, this is far and away the sportier option of the two. I mean, it's got more power, it handles better. Higher trim levels offer paddle shifters, which further emphasize the fact that the Mazda team really built this car from the ground up to be fun to drive, and it really is just a blast. Still, there are some things that could be a little bit better. For example, the 6-speed automatic transmission can be a little bit harsh when it shifts, and going over bumps, you do feel the road quite a bit more than you would in, for example, the Focus. Still, those are really small concessions to make for what's otherwise a really entertaining and engaging car to drive. Inch per inch, these cars really are very, very similar. I mean, yes, so you trade off a little bit going back and forth between the models when it comes to legroom and headroom, but realistically, they're very much the same. I admit the Mazda 3 does have less cargo room with the rear seats laid up than the Focus does, but honestly, I'd take a little bit less cargo room and a little bit of a harsher ride to get to drive this thing any day of the week. One of the things that's interesting about these cars is that they're rated by the EPA to get exactly the same fuel economy, but keep in mind that this car has a whole extra half liter of displacement and quite a bit more power, so the fact that it's able to achieve that really speaks volumes to how sophisticated this engine is.
When it comes to the driving dynamics of the Focus, there's not a lot to complain about. The car is still fun to drive, it's just not as sporty as the Mazda 3. But one thing I don't like is the artificial feeling steering wheel. It's a little too heavy, and a compact car like this should really encourage a light, fun feel. But we've got to talk about the powertrains. This 2-liter 4-cylinder engine just can't keep up with the 2.5-liter unit in the Mazda. It's not particularly slow, but just in comparison to that car, it just isn't strong enough. The one thing I don't like about this powertrain is this dual-clutch automatic transmission. At low speeds, it's really jerky, it's really not refined at all. But at higher speeds, it's smooth, it's quick, and it's fuel efficient. So these cars no longer share the same parts, but they clearly share the same philosophy.
That's right, they both offer a sporty, affordable, and fuel-efficient package that's an awful lot of fun to drive.
But one car does it all just a little bit better.
The Mazda 3 averaged 30 miles per gallon to beat the Focus while doing everything else that it can, only better. After all, we did name it our Car of the Year.